On a cold December night in 2019, Detective Robert Viviano stood at the door of a secluded home in rural Bennington Township, Michigan, unaware that he was about to step into a scene straight out of a nightmare. The man who answered the door, eerily calm and unsettling, reminded Viviano of a real-life Buffalo Bill, a twisted figure plucked from the darkest corners of Silence of the Lambs. What unfolded next would be forever etched in the detective's memory as nothing short of surreal. Just 3 days before, on Christmas Eve, a young man named Kevin Bacon disappeared without a trace after meeting someone he knew only through the internet. His loved ones could never have imagined the horrors that were about to shatter their lives. Horrors that would transform their world into a living nightmare. But the terror didn't start that night. It had been festering in the shadows for months, brewing in the twisted mind of a man who would soon be known as one of Michigan's most depraved killers.
Sherlock County 911.
Oh, I'm trying to get away from some creepy guy. He had me tied up in the basement.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Can I do it, Steve? From some guy who had me chained up in his basement.
He had you chained in his basement? Where are you calling from?
I don't know.
Had a subject that was chained up in someone's basement just fled the residence. He got on cliff.
He after me.
Crazy. I need you to go to somewhere safe. If you can run up to some of the top. Where are you at right now? Are you able to get away?
Help me.
It was October and November of 2019 when law enforcement responded to two separate instances of frantic 911 calls made by young males claiming that they'd been held against their will and were in fear for their lives. In both instances, the young men met in person with a 50-year-old male they had encountered on the dating app Grindr. In both instances, the young men escaped. But they would be the last to escape, and unfortunately, they would both choose not to press charges, leaving law enforcement with little recourse.
Hello.
What's going on?
Oh, sure. What can I help you with?
Well, I think you probably know why we're here, right?
Well, yeah, the goofy guy that I was having sex with decided to take off with my kilt.
Okay. Well, can you put the dog away so we can talk a little bit more about this? If he's telling us one side of the story, we want to get yours.
What?
Hey, yeah, please, thank you.
Well, Steve, come on.
So let's back up just a little bit here.
Sure.
What happened? Start me from the beginning of your day. What happened? You met this guy.
Went over to his place a couple of months ago, and then he contacted me and he said, hey, come on over, and pick me up and I'll come out. I said, well, I've got some tile that I need cut.
Okay.
I said, then, we can play a little bit. And, so I picked him up, he came over, all the tile, played around a little bit. Next thing I know, boom, he left his pile of clothes right here. He took my skillet.
He's telling me that you wouldn't let him go. You chained him up?
Well, I got his handles up, but
You had him
he could have left at any time.
Okay. Did he ask you to leave?
What?
Did he ask you to leave?
No.
He never asked to leave and you had him chained up in the basement?
Well, he was here today.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm chained. Yeah. So I got it. Swing.
Was this just all like a bunch of role-playing type stuff? I mean,
Bingo.
all right.
The case that follows tore through a quiet Michigan town like a storm, leaving a trail of unanswered questions and an unsettling glimpse into the heart of true darkness. Mark David Latunski was born in Michigan. He grew up in a small town and later pursued studies in chemistry, a field in which he showed considerable aptitude. After completing his education, Latunski worked as a chemist, applying his skills in various professional settings. However, despite his intellectual capabilities, his life was marked by significant mental health challenges. Latunski was diagnosed with schizophrenia, a condition that profoundly impacted his life. Over the years, he struggled with managing his mental health, leading to several psychiatric hospitalizations. These mental health issues also affected his personal life, contributing to the breakdown of 2 marriages. As the years passed, Mark's mental state deteriorated further. His interactions became strained, and he began to delve deeper into violent and extreme sexual fantasies and exhibited increasingly disturbing behaviors. These dark desires, coupled with his worsening mental health, created a volatile mix, a ticking time bomb that was destined to explode, and one of the most horrific crimes Michigan had ever seen. Mark's descent was not sudden, but gradual, a slow unraveling of reality. He withdrew into isolation, turning instead to the internet to explore his dark fantasies. In these online spaces, he found others who shared his extreme desires, fueling the dangerous path he was on. In December 2019, Mark's path crossed with Kevin Bacon, a 25-year-old hairdresser from Swartz Creek, Michigan. Kevin, known for his love of fashion and his outgoing personality, had connected with Mark through a dating app. On Christmas Eve, Kevin made the fateful decision to meet Mark in person, despite feeling some hesitation, as would later be revealed in a series of text messages exchanged before their meeting. In one of his final messages to Mark, Kevin asked, "Now, just one question. You are going to keep me safe, right?" Despite any misgivings, Kevin ignored his instincts, and tragically, this decision would cost him his life. The two arranged to meet at a designated shopping strip only about 20 miles from Kevin's home, where they would begin their role-play fantasy of Kevin's kidnapping. After sending one final message to his roommate, stating he would be home later that night, Kevin entered the back of Latunski's vehicle, and they began the journey back to Mark's home. As Kevin Bacon walked up the steps of Mark Latunski's unassuming home on December 24, 2019, he had no way of knowing the darkness that lurked behind its doors. Inside, the house was a labyrinth of chaos. The once modest home had become a twisted reflection of Latunski's disturbed psyche. Each room, save for one fairly well-kept child's room, bore the mark of Latunski's unraveling, a descent into a darkness so profound that it left a palpable sense of dread hanging in the air. The basement was the epicenter of this nightmare. It was here that Latunski's most depraved fantasies came to life. It was a carefully planned lair, outfitted with the tools of a madman: chains, restraints, and other implements that suggested the darkest of intentions. It was a place designed for one purpose: to fulfill Latunski's increasingly violent and perverse desires. Some of the specific details of that night have been redacted from the case files due to the gruesome nature of the crime, but what is known paints a picture of unimaginable terror. After Kevin was reported missing by his family, who had grown increasingly concerned when he failed to return to the family home for their Christmas morning breakfast, Kevin's family set about conducting their own search for Kevin and very quickly located his car in the parking lot of a strip mall off Miller Road. Having notified authorities of finding Kevin's vehicle, the police made entry and found Kevin's keys, cell phone, and most disturbingly of all, the clothes that Kevin was known to be wearing when he left home neatly folded on the front seat. But where was Kevin? Where would he go without his clothes? And who goes anywhere these days without their cell phone? Both puzzled and highly alarmed at the items found in Kevin's car and otherwise finding no trace of Kevin, investigators turned their attention to Kevin's cell phone, where they found a string of message exchanges that Kevin had screenshotted from the dating app he had been using. It was this finding that led investigators to the home of Mark Latunski, and what they discovered inside was beyond anything they had anticipated. Detective Robert Viviano was the first to arrive on scene, and he recalls the moment he knocked on Mark Latunski's door.
Mark answers the door, shirtless, wearing a leather kilt, and holding a little dog with a pink bow in its hair. It reminded me of the movie Silence of the Lambs, where that particular serial killer, Buffalo Bill, had a little dog with a bow in its hair, and it was kind of surreal. It was odd.
As police made their way through the home and finally into the basement, what they found shocked even the most seasoned investigators, a scene so horrifying that it left an indelible mark on everyone involved. Mark Latunski, fueled by untreated mental illness and violent obsessions, had carried out an act of unimaginable violence. As the details of the crime began to emerge, the true extent of Latunski's depravity would come to light, revealing a man who had crossed the line from disturbed to sadistic, diabolic monster.
Is Mark David Latunski. That is not my legal name.
Oh, it isn't?
No. That is a stolen identity. Mark David Latunski was last, or at least the last record that I have of Mark David Latunski was 1972. He was born in 1959. He has black hair. He has brown eyes, and he was born a cripple. So, what happened to Mark David Latunski? I have no idea.
Okay. So what is the name that you prefer or that you use?
Is my name Mark David Latunski? No. My name is Edgar Thomas Hill.
So you're Edgar Thomas Hill. What's your date of birth?
I don't know.
Okay. What is the name that you prefer to be called?
So, the name that I go by is Olikos.
How do you spell it?
Olykaos.
Okay.
And, that's at least a common name that I use. But only because I've never really used any of those other names. And when I hear the name Mark Latunski, I know that somebody's talking garbage. It's not real.
Okay, I'll leave those.
So,
All right. You were brought down here, obviously, well, when the police came to your house, they put you in the handcuffs, and then you were driven down here.
yes.
And I want to talk to you. But before I can do so, because you're in handcuffs and you're brought down here, I need to advise you of your Miranda rights.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to read you the Miranda rights form. Once we get through those, then we'll talk to you about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, because do you understand each of the rights I've explained to you?
I understand that.
Okay. Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you willing to give us these rights and answer my questions at this time? Basically, I want to talk to you about what's going on.
I'm perfectly happy to talk. Yes.
All right. So, I see police came to your house. They were doing a welfare check.
They were doing a welfare check.
Right. They were looking for the person.
Okay.
Okay. So,
I understand it. I'm like, what's it? Sure.
yeah. So that's basically how the police came and contacted you. But before I go into that, what do you do? You said you mentioned you work. What do you do for a living?
Well, right now I'm doing construction. What I have done for a living is had my trust funds raided by people who were pretending to employ me and giving me back my own money. But because I was looking for honest work, I started trying to pick up odd jobs where I would do something, uh, put up someone's drywall, no go. And so finally, using the name Milk Olikos Milkus, I put an ad on Rentman, and man, if I can give a massage and somebody's gonna pay me, that's more honest money than what I was doing at American Chemical. What they were doing was downright disgusting and things that nobody should do. And I look at them, if a man's gonna pay me to rub him down, fine.
So when you started doing the rub down of these men, that kind of leads me into, I guess, what is going on with the, why we're here, there's welfare checks that you let the troopers go in and immigration to your house, and they see a man. Who is that man?
Well, who, and again, when you talk to those, on those sites, you can get anything or no name.
What sites did you meet him on?
I think that one was Grinder.
Okay.
But no matter. We chatted for a while. He described the things that he wanted. I did what I could to bring those things about. And after we sat and made an agreement about what was going to happen, we made the agreement, and he was supposed to disappear, be gone. But you know as well as I do that in our society, although we say, a man can just go, does our society really allow that? No. And what it leaves behind is all kinds of, I'm going to say, things for his family that a man doesn't want to leave. Now, the thing that I set up for him and plans to do for him in that regard was use something for his family that would make it easier. But that agreement between him and I really shouldn't have anything to do with anything but him or I.
So what was the agreement?
I mean, we laid together for a while. He asked me to. I did.
After I asked you to do what? Just lay with
them. Just to play with them. Just play with them and hold them. And finally, he says, you know what? I'm ready.
So the man in the basement, when did he come to your house?
I picked him up. We physically met, in Swartz Creek. And that was when because he had given me details of what he wanted. So I just, I'll tell you what, I will bring all of the things that you would need so that you can see them. I will lay them out in front of you. I says, then I'll step back. I says, you need to decide. You need to decide because I'm not going to force it.
Okay, so you meet him in Swartz Creek.
I met him in Swartz Creek.
On what day?
Well, that would be the 24th.
Okay, on 12/24.
Yes, it was Christmas Eve.
Was that the first time that you've ever met him in person?
That was the first time I ever met him. I had chatted with him, so I had a tremendous amount of detail of what he was looking for. Only what he was looking for. I took everything that I had to set it up, and I put it into a bag. I laid it out in the corner so that it was there in the back of the bed. And I said, you decide. At that point, he said, I made my decision. I said, why? I said, well, I said, take and, put on the different gear that you wanted. That he selected, he take a thumb and said, no, not this one, he picked it all up. He wanted to make sure that he was comfortable. At that point, I said, you know what? I'm not going to put things on you. I said, take what you have, take it off, put it in a bag. And he said, you know what? Can I text a friend and say, you know what? I'm just gonna be out and whatever he blabbered about. And I say blabbered just because I say, you know what? You say whatever you want to say. And he says, okay, now let's send it. I'm gonna turn my phone off. Okay. That was all parking lot. That was all still in the parking lot. So I sat in the front while he did all of that. So in front of your vehicle, I was in the front of my vehicle. What kind of vehicle do you have? It's a van. It's a Hyundai Santa Fe. Okay, great. All right. So I sat in the front, and he went in the back. He got all ready, and I said, "Look, this way you're leaving everything behind," and it's like, and then at that point he says, okay, I'm ready. I went around and I shut the trunk, and then I put, he gave me the key, so that I could lock the car. I put his bag in the back. I locked the car. You locked his vehicle? I locked his vehicle. So his stuff is in his vehicle. His stuff was in his vehicle. And then does he stay in the back of your van? He stayed in the back of my van. Okay, and then you leave the parking lot. And then I left the parking lot. Okay. And then we went back to the house. Okay, so what did you do? Well, after talking to him at multiple ways, I says, well, I could roll. Here's the night I could do it that way, and I couldn't do it. But I don't know if that would be painless. And we debated it all of the different ways. I said, I have a sort of theory, but no, it wouldn't work. I was afraid I would hurt it. And I'm not ready. I couldn't do that. I couldn't run red on the email and having a suffer. And after we debated it, I said, you know what? I think that given what we've got right here, I'm on the back side because he's laying on the floor and it would be across the room. And he had his head facing and if it would be the east wall. And so when I went in, you obviously have on the pictures there's the spray that went to the left. And and there was a fair amount of blood. And then it's like, doing what I needed to do to complete what I told him I would do. Turn him into something that would produce life. And that's what I was in the process of doing. Where's the knife now? It is upstairs in because I cleaned it off. And I think it's upstairs in the dresser drawer. I think on the right hand side.
What does the knife look like?
What's it look like?
Yeah, so is it like a kitchen knife? Is it, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's at the hunter's knife.
It's a hundred. What color is it?
Um, it has a black blade. Um, I mean, I actually, it is, um, it has a black and gray handle.
Okay.
Is it a fixed blade?
Fixed.
It doesn't move.
No,
Like I'm picturing something like, you remember the movie Rambo? You ever see Rambo? Or
it's
it's about that big with a handle and a big blade.
the blade is only about that long.
Oh,
Is it serrated or smooth?
Smooth. It was smooth blade.
And it's in your bedroom.
It's in my bedroom.
In a dresser drawer.
In a dresser, and I think it's there. Yeah.
And here's some growling. I didn't utter growling. Okay. But let's back you up, and I'll get into all of it. So you meet this person on Grindr Christmas Eve, which is the 24th.
Well, that was when I physically. That's the first time I physically met.
So let me back up. So you do physically meet the first time after the agreement for you wanted that to happen. So you meet him Christmas Eve. Do you know about what time it was that you met him? And it doesn't have to be exact. 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
No, I really don't know.
Okay.
Because
Was it daylight or was it dark?
It was right near dark.
Okay. And he arrived in his vehicle. You arrive in your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
You have the gray Hyundai van.
Yep.
You have items laid out in the back of the van.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets out and he sees the items. He decides what he's going to put on or what he's going to wear.
He made those decisions. He made all of those decisions of exactly what pieces of what was there he wanted, and based on, like I said, it was full. There were some things that went back into the bag, and some things that he put on, and some things he says, well, you know what, maybe I'll try those later, but let's not start with that. I says, look, you need to put these on. I said, I'm not gonna force you to put, I'm not gonna force you to do anything.
Right.
This is for you.
Okay.
And
so he puts the stuff on. You lock up his car to make sure all this stuff,
everything is secure, so that nobody's gonna come in and steal anything.
Right. I understand. So then you drive to your house. You get back. You get back to the house, and you guys go inside. When you get home to the house, is it just you two?
It's just us two.
Okay. Took place. Did it take place upstairs in the bedroom or downstairs where he is right now?
It was all downstairs.
Okay, so nothing sexual happened upstairs.
No.
Between you two. No, only down in that room.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was an initial, portion up in the kitchen, but yeah, it was kitchen, and then downstairs, and then, and that's it was all there. And I don't know what the right word is for it. That as soon as he was at the point of being unconscious, I need to make sure that this is quick and not run out. And so it was then that it's like, okay, let's get this so that I was trying to speed it up at that point because he was already unconscious.
Okay.
But I could tell, because, I mean, you could tell that he was, in any case,
it was the realization of this wasn't enough, and that was when I hoisted all of that set up once he was clearly confused. Then I was like, okay, let's get him up as much as I could, so that one, the what blood there was that was in the sand could go out into the flower bed. Sure. And that way I could take care of it.
Okay, so you guys are down there. Where you keep saying here, so you're pointing here. Okay, you're pointing right at the hairline.
Yeah.
When you do this, is he on the ground? There was a chair down there. Was he sitting in?
Oh, no, the chair was not in there at the time. I put the chair in after to take the horse chestnut, or not the horse chestnut, but chestnut, and plunk them in on the same way, so that they would be growing. In any case, so it was the after portion, so cleaning up. What I didn't get to yet was to wash him up, clean him up. And, I started to pull the sand out that was there to start to clean it up. But, it was a matter of, it takes a little bit of time to, depending if you probably supposed to deer. Sure. It's what the blood right now. It's the same. It's the same process. And it's just a matter of saying, how do you do it? Good. Yeah.
So the first one right here, you realize he's still alive.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do? That was when I just reached down, because he is laying, and
Is he face down or face up?
he is, well, he actually, so he was, I'm gonna say, on a stomach,
Okay.
face towards the east.
Okay.
And that
Was his head down by like the dirt area?
with his head facing that east wall. And so, he was laying here and I was here.
Okay.
At the point that that we did it. It was after he was here, he was already dead. So he died here. And then after he was, and I don't know, it just flat out fact, is that after he was dead, and it was then that I started to do what I told him I was going to do. I was going to be part of him. And I did. And honoring my word through what I said I would do. I look at it and I say, yeah, that's.
Was that his wishes? Is that the main reason why you did it?
It was the discussion, like wherever, whatever is consumable is consumable. So I said, I will eat you, and he says, okay.
So this happened sometime the night of the 24th into the.
It was the night of the 24th into the 23rd. I stayed with them for quite a while. I mean, that was very important. And I said, you will not die alone. I said, I won't.
On that, to me, as an outsider looking in, that shows me the type of person.
I still won't do that.
You're a man of your word.
Regardless of what it is, I won't let you die alone.
Yeah.
And
that's very stand up of you. I mean, not a lot of people would do that. So, if you don't mind, I was just curious. How'd you do that? Did you cook them? Did you? Where did you do that? I mean,
on the kitchen stove.
like with a frying pan.
It was the griddle. I mean, I eat Rocky Mountain oysters anyway.
Sure.
I have a carton of them that I bought. And so it's really very simple. You slice them thin, you saute in with some Worcestershire sauce, and then once they're done, you just eat them. Um, the other portions were going to be uh, uh, a jerky and the like. I mean, I didn't know that at the time, and so afterward, um, and in fact, I mean, yesterday, maybe it was, well, depends on what day it is now.
No, Saturday morning.
But I just ordered a dehydrator so that, so that, I mean, I said not numbing, just so that I could, continue to process away and do what he wanted me to do.
So you would have taken more of his body and put it in the dehydrator?
Absolutely.
And where's the dehydrator now?
It's on order at Aurora. I didn't order it until after we talked and he said that that's what he wanted. And so it's like, well, and that's when I started really looking for one to say, you know what, this is what he wanted, then this is what he wanted. That's right out.
And that was all Tuesday night, the 24th, going on the 25th.
The 24th going into the 25th. And, and then I will say, because after it was done, I looked at myself and I went, I was covered and I'm a little not covered, but it's like I had some on me. And I looked at it and it's like I had done what I needed to do, and I like, I could wash this off. No, I'm not going to. And at that point, I went upstairs and I crawled into bed, and I left it.
Did you ever
and
did you ever wash those sheets then after you laid in the blood on it?
no. And when I got up the next morning, cause I rested, just lightly. I got up and it was middle of the afternoon when I was supposed to go over
Yeah,
and get the 25th. And I looked at it and I went, you know what? I'm not. And I left it right on. And I put on what clothing I had. And I went, I'm not going to wash them off.
Where did you put the clothing that you got them on you?
No idea. I mean,
You never washed it?
No.
Do you remember what you were wearing?
When we were having our fetish dance, nothing. What was I wearing?
You said you had blood. Did you have blood on your clothes or just your body? Naked
just body? My body.
Just the naked body.
Yeah.
So at the times and then the time that you assisted him in passing, did you have clothes at that time? Or were you naked? Okay.
I was naked.
Okay.
I had no.
So there would be blood on the sheets though, where you just laid down if it came off.
It would be dried. It would be whatever slumped off. And I looked at it, and again, maybe my thinking of saying, you know what, I'm not going to wash this off. And even when I was talking to him, I don't feel that I did anything wrong.
So I don't know if you covered it, Josh. When did you end his suffering? Was he on the ground when you did?
He was on the ground.
Okay.
Because he was still in this position, and what I did was I had to move his head in that because that's what I would.
So did you lean over him?
I leaned over.
Can you demonstrate? Pretend his head against that wall. What did you do? Okay, go and tell me what you did.
I saw that it was going on, and I took his head and I moved it to the side and this way. So it was as much as I could in order to whatever it was. It at least initiated another gas that was that it wasn't spray like there was the first time. So it was at least more effective.
So when you say the spray the first time, what do you mean?
That was when I.
So the spray on the wall is what you think, what you're referring to as the first
That
time.
was the first one.
And then when you did this, when you did
The second one, it was just, it's like, I need to end it as quickly as I can. And that was after that, I could tell that he was unconscious.
what caused you to, like, what was that about?
That was, it was the new moon. I normally do Rocky Mountain oysters on either the new moon or the full moon. It wasn't until after I went upstairs and I looked out and I saw that it was the new moon that I looked at and I went, you know what? This is where I'll start. And so that was not in particular. He didn't put an order or it was like that one was a matter of, you know what, I could bump some out or there they are, and I will start with what is right there.
So,
But that like I said, at that point he was already gone.
Sure.
It was post-mortem and it was just a matter of saying, look,
And you said you put Worcestershire on.
I put the Leah Perrin's Worcestershire sauce on it. And it's just, the grill is right there. I mean, because that's how I normally eat them. I had a friend from Ohio that came up to, and I tried some of the recipes with Rocky Mountain oysters, and they just produced so much volume that I found that just thin slicing them with Leah Perrin's was best. And I went, well, if it works for the standard Rocky Mountain oysters, it should work for these. And
so that leads me to a question. And again, I appreciate your honesty. I think,
I'm looking at it, I'm saying,
and that just and again, that proves to me the type of person you are. The honesty and
like I said, it's not a matter of, and some people would say, okay. And I think some people would say, not okay. But
so
yeah,
hasn't that happened before?
no,
You've never assisted anybody with these type of wishes or
no, I haven't.
or eaten anybody else or any other part of body?
And I told him that as well. I've never done this.
Well,
I've never done it.
you did some neat and clean. Did you clean up that room at all after he was passed and after you had hung him by his feet? Did you do a lot of cleaning up?
I took the sand where the blood was there, and I shoveled out one bucket that had bloody sand, and I put it on the hyacinth. And actually the hole had been dug when I was planting the hyacinth because I ran out of hyacinth in the fall. And so the rest of the hole was already there, but there was one hyacinth that was left exposed. And I just took that one bucket of sand and I put it right there.
Just put sand
The sand
and that is
from basement. And it's right there. And it's right there. I mean,
that has the blood on it.
and that had the blood on it. So the cadaver dog will find that sand right there.
Okay.
If it doesn't, the cadaver dog is broken.
Gotcha.
As some of the more gruesome details of that night have been redacted from the interrogation files, The following is a summary of the events that led to the death of Kevin Bacon. After engaging in sexual relations, Mark Latunski stabbed Kevin in the back of the neck, slit his throat, mutilated and desecrated Kevin's body in ways that defy comprehension, and then hung him upside down from his ankles, suspended from the ceiling by a pulley system. And perhaps the most chilling aspect of this crime was what Latunski did with Kevin's body post-mortem. He began removing parts of Kevin's remains and consuming them. As investigators continued making their way through the scene of carnage, it became clear that Kevin Bacon was not merely a victim of chance, but the target of a man who had long harbored dark, violent fantasies that had finally spilled over into reality with catastrophic consequences. For the family and friends of Kevin Bacon, the loss was immeasurable. On a post made to Facebook the day Kevin's body was found, his best friend Michelle shared her thoughts. It's hard to put into words how the last few days have been, how I'm feeling, and how things are now. Kevin was my best friend, and someone who I've been able to confide in for many years. He was one of my biggest supporters and someone who I felt like I could be myself around. Michelle goes on to share a little about who Kevin was, the things he loved, and the things he wanted for his life. He closed her post with the following: "I wish it didn't have to be like this. I am so thankful I was able to call Kevin Bacon my friend, and like a brother to me. I'll never find anyone else like him. He's irreplaceable. I'm not ready to say goodbye to my Kevin." On December 15th, Judge Matthew J. Stewart sentenced Latunski to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the Bacon family, after 3 long years, they could now begin the process of trying to piece together a new reality, one that their beloved Kevin would no longer be a part of. The story of Mark David Latunski is more than just a horror story. It's a stark reminder that evil can reside in the most unexpected places. It forces us to face the unsettling reality that beneath the surface of ordinary life, darkness can quietly fester, waiting for the right moment to emerge. As we close this chapter, let us not remember Kevin Bacon only as a victim, but as a young man who was full of life, with dreams and aspirations that were tragically cut short. His story is a call to action to us all to stay vigilant, to confront the troubling signs that we often would prefer to turn away from, and to protect those who may be vulnerable. So, if you've stayed with me up to this point, thank you so much for watching. And if this story resonated with you, please consider making a donation to the Mr. Ballin Foundation, whose mission it is to honor victims and support families of heinous crimes through education, training, and financial support. And if you found value in today's video, please take a moment to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more true crime stories. Finally, I'd love to hear from you. So give me a shout out down in the comments and let me know if you liked today's video. And if you have story ideas you'd like me to cover, feel free to email those to chasingshadows@myyahoo.com. And as always, thanks so much for watching. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.